It is another beautiful summer morning in the Similkameen, and supposed to be the start of a heat wave where temperatures will be getting close to 40. But right now, it's not too bad. Really start tomorrow. What's today? Sunday. Yeah, until the middle of the week. So that's no fun because you pretty much got to stay inside in the afternoon. But right now, it's nice and unusual to get such high temperatures so late in August, but that's climate change, I guess. So, climate change is not something I'm actually worried about. I don't really care about it since I don't have a whole lot of life left, maybe 20 years max. And so, yeah, it's not even an issue for me. But I guess if you're a younger person, it might be. To me, there's two types of people in the world: the people who want to change things that they don't like, or people who adapt to situations. And I'm definitely an adapter. I don't need to, like modify my motorcycle or too much. I just adapt to what I get. There's people who buy a house and want to renovate everything. No, I just buy the house I can adapt to. But there's no right or wrong. Things got to change, that's for sure, but it's good to be able to adapt to whatever situation's going on. So, as far as climate change, there's nothing really you can do about it. They say every person can contribute, but not really. It's well beyond. It's like when they have water restrictions, they'll tell you to stop watering your lawn, and yet the fields around here are massively irrigated. So, what you're actually using is just a grain of sand. But if everybody's, stops watering their lawn, maybe there's a 1% water saving. It's more political than anything. Water restrictions, that kind of thing. Because it's the right thing to do. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So yeah, climate change is not even on my radar as far as things I worry about. Shit, I do worry about cans though, and there's 3 over there. Hot diggity dog. It's been a bad can morning. I like to get, yeah, there's 3 right here. Holy shit. If I can get a can a kilometer, I'm pretty good with that. I can tell what beers are selling the most. Old Mill, it's got to be the cheapest because it sells the most. Sometimes a few years ago, Old Mill was popular, then it fell off. They must have raised their price. And Budweiser, American beer sucks, let's face it. Sorry, you Americans, but your beer sucks. It's like piss water. But it's cheap, I guess. I wouldn't drink it, but. And then Old Mill's made a comeback, so they must have lowered the price. Whatever's cheap, right? There's another one. There's a Bud Light. I love people who throw their cans out. Somebody's going to come along and get them. Don't throw litter, but throw cans. I don't get the littering business. We were in the Dominican Republic way back when. Forget when it was now. 2000. Shit, I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe it was even 20 years ago. And oh shit, there's another one. I haven't got any cans up to this point. Now I'm getting a bunch. Here, look at the scenery. Talk amongst yourselves. Anyway, here's this Dominican Republic in the beautiful tropics, beautiful Caribbean. And we went on a tour. And the streets are absolutely littered with garbage outside of the compound where we stayed. Like, how can you do this to your beautiful tropical well, semi island they share with Haiti? But like, it was horrible. Like all this litter. When I was a kid, we were taught the worst thing you could do is be a litter bug. You see garbage around here, but it's not too bad. Garbage landfills should be free, I think, then people wouldn't dump their crap on the side of the road. Maybe they would anyway. But anyway, yeah. I don't worry about climate change because there's nothing I can do about it, and B, I can adapt. People can live near the North Pole. People can live with a different. People can live in the equatorial areas. People can live anywhere. We're the most adaptable species on the planet. You just got to learn to get new systems to adapt to these things. And in another sense, it makes the winters less extreme. If you're in Canada, people think Canada cold. Well, it's really only really cold for 3 or 4 months. And even that, I used to live in Edmonton. And when I lived there in the 70s, I remember a stretch of minus 30 for like 3 weeks straight. And that was the high. It was so cold. You could barely start your car, and your tires felt like they were solid. And you were driving constantly on ice. And now, if you look at temperatures, which I do because that's who I am, in the winter, they seldom get extreme cold there. In fact, some days it's above freezing in the middle of January, lots of times actually. So, in that way, it's good. And the availability to grow crops longer in the season and at higher latitudes also increases. So, it's not all bad. It's like Donald Trump. It's not all bad, it's mostly bad, but there are some things that are positives. Oh man, he's got his convertible, BMW. Yay! This is one thing I used to have a Mustang convertible, a 1994 Mustang GT convertible. It was yellow with a white top, convertible top. And I really miss having a convertible. When I see people driving around on a beautiful day like today with their convertible top up, I gotta wonder, what the hell did you buy that for? Like, because it costs extra to buy a convertible. So that guy, I'm happy to see, had his top down. I would drive my Mustang 90% of the time with the top down. My only law was it had to be at least 5 degrees. You can put your windows up and put your heater on. You could drive in pretty cold temperatures as long as it was sunny with your top down. It was great. I really missed that car. It sounded so good. Even the stock muffler system it had, exhaust system, sounded so bubbly and popping and shit like that. And it was one of the most comfortable, had really nice leather seats. One of the most comfortable cars I've ever driven. I could drive all day long. It was a 5 speed. By today's standards, it didn't have a lot of power. I think it had 225 horsepower, which is, by today's standards, is not a lot. It had a lot of torque. Had the old 5 liter, the old kind with the push rods and shit, not the newer kinds with the overhead cams. So it was kind of not really a high revving thing, but it was fun as fuck, as they say. It was a great car to drive. One of my favorite all-time cars, and I've had well over 25 cars in my life. And that one had to rank way up there. I had a Fiat. Oh, there's another can. Fiat 124. That was a hoot. 1969 Fiat 124. I think it was a 69 or 70. Had a 1500cc dual overhead cam engine, just rev like hell, but it was a Fiat, so it wasn't too reliable. But it was a hoot to drive. That engine was so nice. Yeah, but I would love to get another convertible. I'd probably get a Mazda if I was to get one, like a Mazda. What do they call them? MX-5. They used to call them Miatas. That would be a hoot. Maybe in my older age. But yeah, this morning right now would be a perfect time to have a cruise the summer morning in a convertible. It's like these guys who ride their tricycle motorcycles. There's another one. I don't get it. It's not a motorcycle. It's not a car. What are they, Polaris they're called, or Bombardier, or what's the other one? Can-Ams. Not the Harleys that are converted. Where the hell did I see that can? What is, I don't get the point. Why not just get a convertible if you're going to do that? Anyway, yeah. What was I saying? I don't know. Whatever it was wasn't important. I know that. So, yeah. Summertime. The heat is on. Today is bicycle day. Tomorrow, maybe. I have a fear of getting caught out in the heat. If there's so when it's really hot, even though the mornings are nice, the fear is getting like if there's an accident on the highway and they've closed the highway. That happened to me once at least. And I had to take a huge long detour and I was so hot. I had run out of water. And the fear is getting stuck out there. When they close a highway down, they don't think of motorcyclists that are heavy with their gear and that rely on moving air to keep them cool. When the moving air stops, you start to heat up like you're in an oven. And at that point, I had run out of water because it's actually 14 kilometers east of where I live. They closed the highway because there was a fire in a structure and they closed the highway so the firemen could have a place to set up, uh, for their own convenience. So no one knows how long these things are going to get closed. So I was on my Gixxer too, which is not, hugely comfortable for a mega. I'd already finished a 250-kilometer ride. And to have to go another 250 kilometers out of my way to get home, I knew I couldn't stay still because I would cook alive. So I went to the nearest town, got a Slurpee, and kept on riding. So that was a long day. And ever since then, I'm kind of have a paranoia about getting caught out in the heat in all my gear, running out of water, and cooking alive in my motorcycle gear, not knowing when the road was going to open. So when it's super hot, it's one of those things you worry about. You can't just leave your bike and catch a ride with somebody. I guess you could, but a couple of bikers. Oh, there's one of those. I don't get the trikes. Like, it just makes no sense to me. At least those are the old converted Harleys. Those are at least have a motorcycle heritage. But these Can-Ams or Polaris things, whatever they are, with the two wheels up front, not in the back, they just, I just don't get it. I don't get the purpose. But everybody spends their money whatever they want, right? It's because I don't get it doesn't mean it can't be got. Anyway, Oh, so nice. What is it, about almost 11 in the morning? And it's still not bad temperature wise. Maybe 26, 27. Just nice for bicycling. But this afternoon, I'll hunker down once the heat settles in. I think I got to cut the lawn, but I got a small lawn, no big deal.